Today is the Prebidding Conference, March 15, 2024. To begin with, uh, opening prayer to be by using audiovisual presentation and followed by the reading of the attendees if the back is in quorum. Please all rise.
Good morning to all of us. Attendance for this morning's pre-procurement and pre-bid conference for 2024 infrastructure projects. From the Bid and Awards Committee, 3 members are present. From the technical working groups, 4 members are present. From the back secretariat, 5 members are present. From the presenters, we have 2 from the planning and design section. From the contractors, two contractors are present. Mr. Chair, I now declare that the back is in quorum.
Since the back is in quorum, our first presenter for today's pre-bid conference is Engineer Dili magina sila mo sa una pa. Wala.
Uh, we have 2 contractors present in this morning's pre-bid conference. We have from EMMB Construction and Supplies, represented by Libby Langon. From Liquid Construction, represented by Ginaline Salabaris. That is all the for today's that is all for the contractors for today's pre-procurement pre-bid conference.
Okay. Our first presenter, Engineer Jeffrey Biolango.
Good morning, everyone. I am Engineer Jeffrey Biolango from the Planning and Design section. Good morning to our Vice Chairperson, to the members, the back and to the back secretariat, to the back technical working group, and to the contractors present today. I will be presenting to you one of the convergence and special support program projects having a contract ID of 23JF0094 with a project title of Construction of Pedestrian Overpass along Lanao-Pagadian-Zamboanga City Road, Barangay Poblacion, Ipil, Zamboanga Sibugay. For the appropriation is 20 million, and the project duration is 175 calendar days with an ABC of 19,300,000. Next slide. For the funding source, as you can see, it is ASAA, which is from the CSSP. Next slide. For its project location, it is located in front of Wheeler and near the UZ building, and in front of also Caltex gasoline station. For its license category is B, and the size range is medium A. Next slide. For its project length, the length of the overpass is 37.2 linear meters. And for the road limits, bali may widening siya. Right side only going to Zamboanga City. The length of the widening is 95 meters and having a thickness of 0.23 meters, and a width of 3.8 meters. For the paved shoulder, 1.5 and a thickness of 0.2. The same length also. Next slide. This is the general plan. Bali, opposite ang ilaang kuan, ang stairs niya. Next. This is also the front elevation of the overpass. The having a pier of bali one pier only and two abutments. Next slide. This is the side elevation. The column is reinforced concrete, and its girder is I-beam steel. And the trusses are also tubular pipe, rectangular tubular pipe for the roofing. Next slide. This is the details for the column. Bali, for column 1, the size of its footing is 5 by 5, and the size of its column is 1 meter by 1 meter, and it is tapered going up to the capping. And the clear height is, I think, 4.2 meters for the capping. Next slide. This is the detail of the capping. Main reinforcement is 25 mm. This is also the detail for its bearing pad. And it will be anchored at the capping and bolted to the steel I-beam for its girder. Next slide. Another details for the columns. Next slide. This is the cross-section of each column. Bali, 1 meter by 1 meter ang main column niya. Tapos, and the other columns are smaller. Next slide. For the cross-section of the main girders, the depth of the main girders is, I think, 0.7. And for the truss, its members are all rectangular, rectangular tubular pipe. Next slide. This is also for the details of its slab, but the thickness of the slab is 150 mm with metal steel decking at the bottom. Next slide. For the typical road section, The item 200 is 0.30 at the proposed widening, and the thickness of the proposed widening is 0.28 meters for the PCCP, and for the sidewalk 0.1 meters, and for the thickness for the shoulder is 0.2 meters. Next slide. This is the proposed perspective for the proposed overpass. Next slide. For the items involved and summary of quantities, di ko kabasa. For part A, provision of field office for the engineers, okay ra to ba? And provision of progress photographs. For part B, permits and clearances, bridge survey and staking, project billboards, occupational safety and health, traffic management, and mobilization and demobilization. For its earthworks, this is for the proposed additional widening, which is 3.8 meters width. And for the surface course, bali 0.2 for thickness of the paved shoulder and 0.28 for the main carriageway nga widening. Next slide. For the bridge construction, metal railings for the railings of the overpass and structural steel furnace fabricated and erected for the main girders and the diaphragm, bolts, nuts, and washers, reinforcing steel grade 40 and 60. Grade 40 for the 16 mm and below, and 60 for the reinforcing steel greater than 16 mm. Structural concrete, thin concrete for the foundation of the footing, and elastomeric bearing pad. For the drainage and slope protection structures, there will be an extension of the existing pipe culvert, which is 610 mm in diameter, and stone masonry for its head wall and catch basin. For the miscellaneous structures, curb and gutter, sidewalk, reflectorized thermoplastic pavement markings, warning signs, 150 by 600. For the sign vertical clearance, and there will be also supply and installation of solar panel for the this will be used for the supply and install also of the LED display. And for the finishing and other civil works, ceiling and fascia boards, finishing hardware, steel windows, hollow steel doors. This will be used for the uh, for the storage of the batteries for the solar panels, and it will be located below the stairs, only at one side only. Fabricated metal roofing, gauge 26 for the roofing, the flashing, and the gutters also. Next slide. Painting works for the masonry steel, reflective insulation for the roofing, seats B load bearing including steels. This is for the storage of the battery also. Structural steel for the steel post and for the trusses also. And for the electricals, some items also for the electricals. Next slide. For the other department orders associated in the programming of this project. Next slide. This will be the minimum requirements for the equipments. Bali 36 equipments required. Next slide. For the minimum manpower requirements. Next slide. For the material source map, the aggregates will be sourced at Barangay at Municipality of Cabasalan. And for the item 200, it will be from Palumok, Municipality of Titay. Next slide. Other supplemental notes for the derivation of the project duration, DO 44. Next slide. And also mandatory use of joint sealer. This is for the concreting of the proposed widening. Next slide. This is also for the environmental management system, D159. For the gender mainstreaming, it is for the contractor, it is required that they will be hiring at least 50% of women within the locality of the project. Next slide. Next slide. That will be all. And if you have questions or clarification, you can visit me at the planning and design section with my number in the screen. There are questions you may ask now.
Is there any question from the contractor? Okay, let us proceed. The second presenter for today's pre-bid is Engineer J. Demol.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Once again, good morning, everyone. In behalf of Corsid Yusuf Olaja from Planning and Design Section, I'm here to present 3 road infrastructure projects. To begin with, uh, the first project is under Basic Infrastructure Program, has an contract ID of 24JF0044, has a title of Access Roads and or Bridges from the National Roads, leading to major strategic public buildings, facilities, completing of road at Barangay Moalboal, Titay, Zamboanga Sibugay. Next slide. The appropriation is 5 million and has a project duration of 40 calendar days and has an approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000. The funding source is from the from the FY 2024 infrastructure program or Naga. The project location is Barangay Moalboal, Titay, Zamboanga, Sibugay. Continuation lang siya sa daan nga PCCP. Has a license category of CND, size range of small B. The project limits, the beginning station is 0 plus 00 and end station of 0 plus 350.00 and has a total length of 350 meters. The width of the PCCP is 5 meters and the thickness is 0.20 meters. The typical roadway section is the item 311 is 20 meters thick, and for the item 200, 0.20 meters thick at the PCCP and 40 meters thick at the shoulders. Next slide. We propose RCPC 910 mm dia for a certain station. For the items involved, summaries of quantities. For Part A, facilities for the engineer. Part B, other general requirements. Part C, earthworks. We have an individual removal of trees, surplus common excavation, pipe culverts and drain excavation, embankment from the roadway, structure excavation, and subgrade preparation. For our sub-base and base course, we used item 200, aggregate sub-base course. For our surface course, Part E, 311 1B1, Portland cement concrete pavement, 0.20 meters thick. And for our part G, drainage and slope protection, we use pipe culverts 910 mm diameter and stone masonry for the head walls and the aprons. And for the part H, miscellaneous structure, we use, for the road safety, we use pavement markings. For our second project, this is under Farm to Market Road, has a contract ID of 24JF0060, the title of Concreting of Barangay Marsolo to Barangay Sulo FMR, Naga, Zamboanga Sibugay. As an appropriation of 30 million and it has a project duration of 229 calendar days and has an ABC of 29,850,000. The funding source is sub-allotment advice, has a number of SR 2024-02-010129. The project location is 24J, the project location is at Barangay Marsolo to Barangay Sulo, Naga, Zamboanga Sibugay. Sana ni siya continuation lang ni siya sa daan nga PCCP. Sa license category of B, size range of medium A. The beginning station is 0 plus 00 and end station of 1 plus 560, has a total length of 1,560 meters and has a width of 5 meters and a thickness of 0.20 meters. The typical roadway section, the thickness of the item 311 is 0.20 and for certain station we propose a line canal V, V canal, stone masonry. For the slope protection, we propose the grouted riprap. Next slide. For our drainage, we propose 910 mm diameter pipe culverts and RCBC, reinforced concrete box culvert for the drainage. For the items involved, the summary of quantities. For part A, the facilities for the engineer. For part B, other general requirements. For part C, earthworks. We have the clearing and grubbing. For individual removal of trees, removal of actual structures, surplus excavation, structure excavation, pipe culvert and drain excavation, embankment from roadway and structure excavation, and subgrade preparation. For the sub-base course, we use the item 200 for aggregate sub-base course. For part E, Portland, we use 311 1B1 or Portland cement concrete pavement, 0.20 meters thick. For the bridge construction, part F, we use reinforcing steel, grade 40 for the sa atoang box culvert. For the drainage and slope protection, we use 910 mm diameter for the pipe culverts and line canal. And for grouted riprap for our slope protection and stone masonry for the drainage. For the miscellaneous structures, we use metal beam guardrails for the road safety and pavement markings. For our third project, it is under Farm to Market Road, has an contract ID of 24JF0062, concreting of Barangay Timbabauan FMR, Barangay Timbabauan, Tungawan, Zamboanga Sibugay. As an appropriation of 15 million, project duration of 92 calendar days, and as an approved budget for the contract of 14,925,000. The funding source is sub-allotment advice as a number of SR 2024-02-01-0142. The project location is at Barangay Timbabauan, Tungawan, Zamboanga Sibugay. Continuation lang yapon siya sa daan nga PCCP. Ito. For the license category, it is CND and size range of small B. The beginning station is 0 plus 00 and the It ends at 0 plus 870 as a total length of 870 meters. Sa width of 5 meters and the thickness of 0.20 sa tuwang item 311. The typical roadway section, the item 311, it has 0.20 meters thick, and we propose a grouted riprap for the slope protection. Next slide. For our drainage, we propose 910 mm diameters pipe culvert, and in a certain station we use 1,220 mm diameter pipe culverts for a certain station. The summary of quantities, for part 8, the facilities for the engineer, the other general requirements. For part C, earthworks. For earthworks, we have an individual removal of trees, removal of actual structure, 0.15 thick PCCP, removal of actual structure, 610 mm diameter RCPC, surplus common excavation, pipe culverts and drain excavation, embankment from the roadway, structure excavation, and subgrade preparation. For the sub-base course, we use item 200 aggregate sub-base course. For the surface course, we use item 311 1B1 or Portland cement concrete pavement 0.20 meters. And for the drainage, we use pipe culverts 910 mm diameters and 1,220 diameter RCPC. For the slope protection, we use the grouted riprap and stone masonry. For the road safety, we use pavement markings. Next slide. For the department orders associated in the program, material source map, minimum equipment requirement, manpower requirement. For the minimum equipment requirement, we use an applicator machine 1, the backhoe 1 isa pod, then backhoe wheel mounted isa pod siya. Bar bender, bar cutter, bulldozer, cargo service truck isa-isa po siya. Then concrete vibrator duha po siya. Dump truck for the hauling duha po siya kabuok. We use mechanized joint sealer machine napo na siya sa DEO nato karon. It has a total of 30 equipments tanan. Minimum manpower requirement, 1 project engineer, geodetic engineer, materials engineer, laboratory technician, 4 man, then unskilled personnel of 44, unskilled personnel, 12 siya kabuok, then service driver, security personnel, safety officer, and health officer, a total of 65 personnel. For the material source map, we utilize the Palumok quarry for our item 200 and Kabasalan quarry for the fine coarse aggregates. Supplemental notes is under this under Department Order 044 series of 2012, standardization of construction duration of the DPWH program. Next slide. For supplemental notes, Department Order 80 series of 2016, mandatory use of joint sealer equipment machine for the sealing joints of the concrete. Ginagamit yun siya sa road projects. For the permits and clearances, we have the Department Order 159, the implementation of social and environmental management system operations manual. Slide. We have for the tree cutting permits, we have the Department Order number 116 series of 2018, tree cutting and earth baling permit, application process and requirements for the DPWH infrastructure projects. For the gender mainstreaming effort of the Zamboanga Sibugay second DEO, we have the Department Order number 130 series of 2016. This is a guidelines for the implementation of the provision of Republic Act number 6 6685 and Republic Act number 9710 or the Magna Carta for women. That's all for questions and clarification. Please see Corsid Yusuf Olaja sa Planning and Design section. That's conclude my presentation.
Is there any question?
Good morning to each and everyone, no? Query lang ko sa kuan ba sa right of way. Kasi yung sa Sulo, Marsolo to Sulo is a private property yun. Company. Tapos yung road natin is 5-meter width plus shoulder plus line canal. Naka-verify ba mo sa right of way? Including yung sa first kuan ba, yung overpass. Clear ba yung sa right of way din sa kuan, yung overpass natin dito sa sentro ng Ipil? Kasi i-clear na to kay kabalumanta na i-abandon ang road is na dili existing survey sa DPWH before kasi di ba na-abandon road dito sa Pikas. Sa to pa kana karon gi-occupied lang sa DP kay naadi at nabutang National Highway. Muna atong i-clear ang atong right of way o na registered ba na, sa DPW sa highway na gyud na ba ang right of way. Kasi dati nag-claim sila dito sa Pikas. Kabantay katong sa una nga kay Dr. Cruz. kana ilang kuan, ilang bibingkuan, ilang imarino, puro ilang manyalak, puro ta nagproblema kasi dili man existing road. Muna to, ato lang i-clear that. Thank you.
Good morning, no. We back to APMR Tambanan yata to? Ano to? Tambanan Sulo. According to Engineer Biolango, it was already conduct the PIS, the Preliminary Investigation Survey, together with the agriculture. I hope so. Kung nag-conduct mag-PIS, doon na po mo yung mga attendance during the time. At least para, kung doon na may mga problema, at least doon na yung mga conflicts during implementation sa project, at least, klaro, during inspection, nga, clear na gina nga area. Dili lang kay inanita, kana mong ipagi lang na ito, inani nga istorya, verbal, di magna i-honor. Kaya pag-abot ito, sa implementation, dito na nagawas ng mga problema. Dapat doon na may black and white nga nag-attendance during preliminary investigation survey. I hope so nga inana atong buhaton. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Atrix, saan niya atong himuan og supplemental? Ah.
Good morning, no. Sa procurement na activity, makita na to diri nga nabutang na mo nga date March 28, medyo na-mislook yun na mo ni sir. Wala may kuan. Pero ang ruling nga ni sir, kung ma-fall jud siya sa holiday, the next working day. So ang kalendaryo mabutang siya o March 1, April 1. So automatic ni siya ma-fall pero maghimo jabon mi og kana postponement or supplemental nga i-move na mo sa April 1 ang atuang opening of bids ni sir. Same lang gyapon ani nga place, same time, 10 o'clock in the morning, sir. Conference room. Thank you, sir.
Padayon na day. Okay, is there any question from the contractor? Any motion for the adjournment of the pre-bid conference? I move that this pre-bid conference be adjourned, Mr. Chair. It has been seconded, and thank you for the viewing for the Facebook page and YouTube na day. And thank you, and the pre-bid is now adjourned.